Wow, the end of another year, and now we're in 2014. So, how was the year for Bayloric Worldwide Television from 2013 to 2014? So let's start back at the beginning of 2013, and I started doing interviewing a lot of people, public figures from around the world, and that was real fun. It was really a fun experience. Enjoyable, gained a hell of a lot of experience in dealing with different public figures, really how to get and track down interviews. Some people agreeing to do the interviews, other people not thinking that I was good enough or big enough to do the interview with. So, that happens. But by and large, it was a great experience. And what can I tell you? My favourite interview, now that would be telling. I can't say that, and that would be, I feel slightly disrespectful to all the other people I've done interviews with. But I will tell you this: the interviews that I felt that were key interviews, particularly in world events, I think the interview I did with Peter Fury, and he'd given Team Hay or David Hayes Camp and Adam Booth 24 hours to sign a contract, or else the fight would have been cancelled. That was, I think, a key interview, and we all know what happened there. David Hayes had signed the contract originally to fight Tyson Fury within the 24 hours. This was the first time the two were going to fight. Obviously, the fight never happened, but I think that was a key interview. Another key interview was when Malik Scott had been beaten by Derek Chisora, and we got an interview an hour or a half after the event in the hotel room, and not even Box Nation themselves, who were the broadcasters of the event, even got the interview. So that was and thank you to Malik Scott for that. He was very open and honest. A lot of people felt the fight was a controversial stoppage. Some people thought that Malik Scott took the dive. Other people thought the referee had done a miscount and counted too fast, and others just thought, Malik Scott should have got up, and the referee really should have. The referee did his job. So controversial situation there. Let me think. A lot of interviews. The interview with Ali Adams, who'd been banned for finding the boxing board had found drugs within his system, so he's been banned for 2 years. I believe Ali will be coming back sometime this year, maybe I don't know. I think his ban is up this year, at least in 2014. So yeah, that interview was very interesting because it was the Don Charles, Ali Adams said something, Don Charles refuted it, and then Steve Goodwin had something to say. So it was a three-way interview there. Again, the crossover interviews I felt were very interesting because a lot of, in terms of the boxing community, people seem to keep themselves to themselves. You've seen a little bit more now people working together, but definitely for Bayloric Worldwide or Bayloric TV at the time, we did interviews with On the Ropes Boxing, with Jenna J. We went over to Leave It in the Ring with Dave Duenis, and we also did a almost 2-hour special with ATG Radio. So those were 3 crossovers with Bayloric Worldwide. So my aim was to interview those people behind the microphone to find out what they were about, what their boxing knowledge was about. So there were 3 great interviews there as well. So in terms of the boxing interviews, it was great. Being on the island of Grenada has made it pretty difficult for me to be able to do some of the interviews I liked, the video interviews, but however, we did manage to do some video interviews. I managed to interview Lexon Fletcher, who is a TV personality, Patrick Delves, the herbalist, and reggae artist. Lots of conscious music from Patrick Delves, and a wealth of knowledge in terms of herbal treatments and how to heal the body in a natural way without using drugs, which was a very interesting interview indeed. I managed to do an interview with the Governor General, in Grenada, who's a representative of the Queen. So that was a very point moment as well for me to be able to sit down and talk at length to somebody who is the representative of the Queen. So that was a great moment. Let me think who else we've interviewed. Brother B, a soca artist in Grenada, and he was up for a double nomination for the NAACP Awards. That's a big award, and a lot of the stars, black stars in America, were there for the event. I think Kerry Washington was one. Estelle actually won the award. It was the Image Award. Estelle won the award in the end. I think Brother B came second. But for soca, that was great, and genre of music. So it was fantastic to see the Caribbean being represented in such a manner. So big up to Brother B for that. There are other interviews along the way. D.A. Smart, the Chicago rapper. That was another breakthrough interview for myself to learn more about rap and the, rap in its original form, and really find out the essence what that was all about. And being from Chicago and being a man that I performed with Grandmaster Flash, Eminem, that to know more about the industry, music industry, that was fantastic. So that was another great interview as well. To talk to some of the boxing promoters, managers, movers and shakers in the sport. Managed to talk to Loa, a footballer who played at the highest level, Premiership football. So it was good. Another good interview. And an old school friend to that. So that's been good, and the interviews are good, and getting the interviews being followed up by the likes of Doghouse Boxing. So shout out to Doghouse Boxing for following up our interviews with publications on their website, on their forums. Is great, which has given us Baylor Worldwide a lot more exposure. More recently, Boxing Socialist, shout out to Boxing Socialist for taking the videos that we do and give them massive push on your page. Big shout also to Fighters Rated. You'd think all I do is boxing, because the amount of boxing videos I put out is unbelievable. It's just a passion I have for the sport. Real passionate about the sport I've been, and it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. Let me think now. I'm sure there are interviews you're going to tell me that I've forgotten, and yep, you'll have to forgive me for that. But I think the turning point for Bayloric Worldwide was an interview I did with 3 ladies up in St David's in Grenada, and they were running a summer school, and they were running a summer school from kids aged 6 years old right up to about 17, 18, and I was invited there to just record the event, which my wife actually spoke about. Harriet Tubman, a freedom fighter and a lady that freed many slaves back in those days. So, and of course, Harriet Tubman is a great woman. But my wife spoke at length because she's an inspirational speaker and did a lot talking about that. But back to my point, that was the turning point for Bayloric Worldwide, because at the time we started showing lots of our shows, and we were getting some viewership. But what was really key was the fact that these 3 ladies were looking for funding, and through us showing the show, they got funding from Canada. So at that point, when the girls came back and said, we got funding for our program, the government wasn't able to fund us, but these people will. For me, that was a key turning point for Bayloric Worldwide. I realised at that point that, hey, you're onto something here, son. You need to push on with it. Another key point was when Bayloric Worldwide worked briefly with Goodwin Promotions, and we were able to show boxing on the station. So it was good. Again, another learning experience working with someone else to provide boxing. It was something I wanted to do, and through the whole event of doing interviews and collaborating with people, you got to understand a lot more about sport and business and how people work, for the good and for the not so good. And it was just a great learning experience. But now things have changed. Baylor Worldwide has grown as a company, as a station. We have done major upgrades to the station. When you go to the station page, you'll see yourself the upgrades, and with it now we have a team, we have staff now, so it's great. So from just me myself doing all these interviews, and the only person on the island, may I say, that covers boxing, doing all these interviews with all these people, it's been great. But now I hope that I can pass on that experience and the contacts we've built with Baylor Worldwide to taking this station to another level in 2014. That's my hope, that the young people that are on board, plus the experience from around the world with various stakeholders, you know, Baylor Worldwide in 2014 are going to be doing some big things, producing our own shows, definitely upping the quality of the videos and the shows that we produce, which we have to. So yeah, that has been, 2013 has been a great year. If you think about where we started at the beginning of the year and where we are now in 2014, if you look at the station, it's at www.baylorworldwide.com. I'm sure you know it by now. So yep, that would be my review of 2013. Thank you to all the people that have done interviews. We appreciate you, the guests. Whereas I may not be interviewing you in 2014, some of our staff would love to have the opportunity to talk with you. And it's not just about boxing, although I've been passionate about boxing and I followed that and still will be passionate, and will be watching sport, you know, maybe from a distance in 2014. I will do the odd video here and there where time permits, but really and truly it's going to be down to the team now and the skills that they have, who've got better journalistic skills than myself, to produce the goods. So it's going to be, I said, it's exciting times. I've really enjoyed it. I've really thanked you for the support, for those people who have watched the channel and watched the videos, and you know, the back and forth. People have banter here and there. I'm no expert, but I enjoy the passion I have for the sport, and I enjoy it. It's great. Big shout out to of course people like Peter Fury and Keith One Time Thurman, who's been a regular on Baylor Worldwide Television. I believe that he will go on to become a world champion in 2014. Bermain Stavern, another man in the wings waiting for a world title shot, believe that he will go on to become world champion as well in 2014. He gave us an interview recently talking about his career and where he feel that's going to be. We have a couple of big interviews lined up for 2014. Again, I probably won't be doing those interviews, but still, I think that's about it. Yeah, so thank you very much for your support. Again, thank you to all the people who did those interviews. We appreciate you, and please continue to support Baylor Worldwide in 2014. This is Ingham Jones. I'm out. Take care.